Right?
Never noticed
in
that.
In the middle of all that, oh my goodness, Tanner, there is actually a really funny episode.
Very good episode.
For me, it's probably my number one episode so far, actually. But that's because there was a lot of characterization with Eggman and Amy. You actually also had a a sort of semi-B story, like, I guess, with Orbot and Cubot trying to do their thing, and there was actually a lot of jokes in this one, which I was actually the episode going out and out to tell jokes and be funny, which surprisingly for a lot of the shows so far, it's been a lot of things. And there was a glorious line at the beginning, where Eggman had the notification, or the invitation from Mad Lair magazine or whatever it's called, and he just hands it to Orbot and Cubot and goes read the exposition, which is a glorious. It's like, here, you read this thing which tells everybody about what's happening in this episode.
Read the plot for
us.
Yeah,
essentially, he just went, read the plot for this episode openly. It's not read what it says. He actually goes out and said, read the exposition, which I thought was a great line. Jono, what did you think about that episode?
I'm pretty much with you on the fact that it was definitely one of the stronger ones. I'm not entirely sure if this one places on top or my other favourite, which is forgot the name of it now. Translate This, which I also absolutely loved. As far as jokes go, I think this one hit it a lot better. So, in essence, yeah, I think this is my new favourite episode. Although I do look forward to one where they had the whole sort of fuzzy puppy thing when that comes out.
Fuzzy puppy con.
Oh
boy, I cannot wait to see that one. And that one's going to be another one with Eggman and Amy. So.
But again, I honestly think that those are the two funniest and most well written characters so far. Actually, Amy and Eggman. So, Donnie, what did you think?
Definitely one of my favorite episodes. I really just absolutely loved how. I was waiting to see when exactly Eggman and Amy would have some kind of interaction, because even in the main Sonic series, you really don't get that all that much. And seeing that here in Sonic Boom was actually a really nice surprise, and that combined with just how well they delivered and interacted, in the just the strange yet comical chemistry that was between the two was just hilarious. And it really does continue to tell me that this show is doing just fine, and as long as they keep this direction going, it will continue to do just fine.
Because they also had that interaction, admittedly with Sonic, in Can an Evil Genius Crash on Your Couch for a couple of weeks. That episode 2, because they also had that when she was acting as peacemaker between Eggman and Sonic. So it's they're getting there, aren't they, with the characters and their boundaries and what roles they're playing.
Yeah, it's like I said, like in before we actually recorded the commentary, that it was episode 1, the Sidekicks episode, really was the one where they really overemphasized their personalities, because they were wanting to show, okay, this is what they're going to be like in the show. Now that they've done that, they can ease up and just focus on the plots and just the actual writing itself. So
yeah,
it really did, because you could tell that episode 1 was very different personality-wise for the characters compared to the following episodes, because like I said, it seemed like they made the characters a lot more overemphasized with their personalities, because they were just trying to show off, hey, this is what they are supposed to act like and how their behavior is and all. And
it does actually, I mean, it begs a little bit of a question, I guess, in that if that was the first episode that was written, if that is in effect the pilot.
It was one in production order.
Yeah, it's number 1 in production order. Okay, what was the difference in gap from writing point of view, from finishing the script or original treatment at the very least of episode 1 to it moving on from there and episode 2 being written. Because if they were written at the same time, but or was there like 6 months gap or something like that, which could be another reason for that slight difference in tone between 1 and the rest of the series so far. So was it the deliberate line in the sand, or was it just something along the lines of the general production process that actually caused that? It'd be interesting to know, I think.
Yeah.
You have to wonder as well, how does each individual writer sort of treat each individual episode? Because you do occasionally see this with, I think it was seen in My Little Pony, where in one episode you might get one character who's treated in one way and portrayed in such a way in one episode, and then another writer will treat them entirely differently. I'm wondering how much of that would apply here.
Well, it depends if they're going to really stick to the whole each episode's a standalone episode, or unless they're going to shift it into a, like, they will eventually have a story arc once they've got the humour, but they'll keep the humour with it regardless. They're just using this as a temporary part and seeing how well it goes, just comedically wise.
Did episode 3 and 4 have different writers?
I do not know.
I ask this because that would tie in with episode 4 completely ignoring what happened in episode 3 in terms of Styx hates robots, and then Styx loves robots, and it's just it makes sense then if it was maybe a different writer and that they were sort of just working separately to the point where they was just completely contradicted each other.
Well, let's go from this. The writer the sidekick was written by Mark Banker. Can an Evil Genius Crash on the Couch for a Few Weeks was written by Doug Lieblich. Translate This was written by Dave Polsky. Buster was written by Eric Trueheart. My Fair Stixie is also written by Doug Liedberg, or Lichbleek, or whatever. Duck, basically. And Fortress of... I can't pronounce that. Was written by Mitch Watson. That's the one.
Was Mitch Watson.
Yeah. So pretty much, other than episode 2 and 5, each episode had a different writer.
It was different writers. So it's... So was that? So do we think then that was just like a coincidence that we had those 2 episodes like directly next to each other with completely the opposite character reaction for the same character? Anyway, it's one of those things. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to say. We've played. I think Turbo would be upset with me if I didn't say this actually. Played is used as I started saying this as the term for tartan in the US, which is actually wrong for Scotland, because a plaid is the strip of tartan but it's actually sort of thrown over the shoulder. That's actually what plaid is in Scotland and in Scottish, and it's actually just tartan, plain and simple. Which is an incredibly boring thing, but it's
well then.
That's your turbo intervention on Scottishness for the episode. Anything that, actually that was the other thing that I wanted us to actually touch on, because since we were recording episode 3 and 4 last week and the commentaries there, a whole host of concept art has come out for Sonic Boom, which includes some rather interesting takes on the characters and that could have been. So, guys, so that concept art, what do we think of that?
I've actually not seen the concept art, if I'm perfectly honest. So, if someone could just quickly link it to me so I can have a look, see, because it just sound, I just get in the mental image and thought, who's been on DeviantArt again?
Sonic Stadium, I guess has it, unless Sega made them take it down.
I think Sonic Stadium has it. Let me find it.
Thank you guys. I could always rely on you.
Oh, here it is.
There we go.
It is right here.
Aha. Now let us see. Why does Sonic look like Crash Bandicoot?
Which was one of the things that everyone actually was saying. He looks very Crash Bandicoot. The Titan that you're at the top here, which I'm hoping Jamie is now editing into the video here, is the more sort of finalised Sonic Boom Sonic that we recognise, except he has pants. And
you can see his fingers.
You can see his he's got fingerless gloves. However, it sort of changes from there rather dramatically. For example, Lyric is actually an owl in this particular version. In the video games, he is a snake. But I quite like that one of actually him being some sort of techno sorcerer owl.
That was basically Clockwork from Sly Cooper, though.
Yeah.
And then when you scroll down, it says "Work in Progress Chaos," and it basically looks like an entire cast of Neopets.
Yeah, those are the CHAO for the. I don't know why people can't understand that the plural for CHAO is CHAO. Because it's like
our new band, Chaos.
But yeah, a lot of people were saying that they look very Neopetty, these CHAO, because they wanted a CHAO garden at one point, apparently, Big Red Button, which everyone would have loved them for, but never occurred. But the big thing though, along with very peculiar Sonics,
some of them look like they're like rejects from Disney.
Yeah, I think I commented on the Last Minute Continue account that it was like the Secret of Nim Sonic, one of them, because it was just so looked like that. But the big thing was their version of Eggman.
Oh yes,
that they were doing, which if you're seeing this art on the screen, you've got 9 variations potentially of Eggman from 2012. So that's actually, not that
scary.
far away if you think about it, but
I'm glad that they went with the current design that they have at the moment. I think anything less than.
I'm glad that they recognised, any part of the history of the character
being destroyed in an instant.
Let's just take the character and just completely. There's changing it and there's evolving it.
Can you imagine any of these characters with Mike Pollock's voice?
It wouldn't have worked.
Yes.
You wouldn't have had Mike Pollock doing it because it just wouldn't have gone.
It would just sound for a character like that. You just got the mental image of like, oh no, it's Sonic. I've got to do something. I don't know. I'm really bad at improv at the moment.
But when I first saw this picture, you know what I thought? I honestly thought that it was all the explorers from Sonic Adventure.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, I thought it was like all of them, but it was like, no, this is what Eggman is apparently. Eggman is, Eggman's in his late 40s to 50s in terms of his actual age. These guys look like they've just
come
grown,
out of college.
They've just grown a teen moustache or teen facial hair.
That leads us on to something else, which is if you have a look on this image of all these different Eggmen, you suppose you could say, the render of Sonic they put next to it is pretty close to what the final version is. So this must have been used pretty late on in development, and they must have had to change Eggman really late.
Yeah, they were still tinkering with Eggman at that point, because you're right. Sonic's pretty much finalised here, isn't he?
Yeah, that's his final look.
I'm
glad that's his final work.
Say some of those other ones. Actually, there's an interesting one here, which say that first Sonic Boom image with the pants, if we can get that back up on the screen quickly. I'm sorry, Jamie. And then fade it in with the one where it's that pose but a more traditional looking Sonic.
You mean the one where Sonic kind of looks like he's got
it's
sleeves?
the same sort of the same sort of pose, and you can just see the sort of the evolution there. So this Sonic's like a halfway house between the Sonic that we ended up with and the traditional Sonic.
Very interesting to notice that his arms are two different colours.
Indeed.
It's like he's wearing sleeves. It's like, this blue is actually my sleeves.
I'd be more inclined to believe they actually just made a mistake there, really, as opposed to that. as opposed to that, but it's such a strange cavalcade of designs, and I think fans of the initial reaction on seeing this was just like, "Oh my god, it could have been worse."
Now that's something I don't think any of us would have expected to hear.
It's just like all of a sudden it's like, "Oh my god, we should be grateful for Sonic Team for actually saying no to this," and specifically with the Eggman thing, which is just silly. But since then, people have said, well, actually, it would have been interesting to have let them do what they wanted to do, and just let them go, full out, no hand on the reins or what have you, no leash in terms of creativity. Of course, the counter to that is, well, then it wouldn't have been much like Sonic, apparently. But
red button unleashed.
Big red
Sonic
button.
Boom leashed.
Yeah, Sonic developer unleashed. But that's why you have the likes of Sonic Team still overseeing stuff, because if you tinker with the fabric of the series to the degree of which they probably were going to do, when does it is it still Sonic at that point?
I'm not even sure. I mean,
exactly. It's one of those things. But there's some interesting ideas there, and ones that I'd like to see revisited at some time. There's a picture in the concept art of some sort of Asian-looking Dr. Octopus character, which is
that looks like another design for Lyric, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that looks lovely. I'd love to see that back at some point in time.
Maybe, for all we know, we might see this in future games. You mean the one that kind of looks
like the Panda
spider,
came from
a monk with spider tentacle arms?
Yes, exactly. It's that's pretty evil. Although probably we'll find out that's like their redesign of Tails or something.
We find out that was actually Lyric's father.
Yeah, all along it was actually that.
Okay, then here's a very quick question for you guys. When do you think, or what kind of stage of development do you think they were at when this was unveiled? Because this was unveiled quite a long time ago.
It was just the link that you just put up.
Yes.
Well, that was again. So that's the finalised stuff.
Or close to the finalised stuff.
Well,
it looks like
because Sonic was sort of smoothed out a bit more, wasn't he, afterwards? And there was
and it kind of looks like he's wearing a jacket in this.
And they toned down Knuckles. They have toned down Knuckles a bit, and they made an adjustment to Amy's outfit as well. I'd rather suspect that that render was probably done.
Was it last year?
You're looking at. I'm guessing probably. I'm just.
It says 2013.
Yes, It was announced 2013, but you're probably looking at the finalised designs were probably finalised around about February, March time 2013. I'm guessing. Excuse me.
I'm guessing this is the point, John, that you tell us something completely different. So, no, this actually was finalised back in 2012.
Then it was
autumn.
But then it was clearly tweaked again. But they were obviously looking at doing still changing a lot of the design elements with not long.
It really goes to make you think, if that's how late in the design they were, how many episodes did they actually render before they actually said, "Oh, now is when we're going to release it."
It could have been actually that they had. I mean, scripts are obviously well underway at this point. I think, and it could well be that they were at early stages of design work in terms of both the game and the TV series. Not so much the comic, but and it wouldn't surprise me is if the model for the four main characters in terms of Team Sonic did go through several evolutions even mid development of the game as they changed the design and tweaked the design via feedback from Sonic Team.
I think part of me thinks that the reason why there's been so many changes is because obviously they went to Sega and said, look, this is how some of the ideas we have, what do you think? And Sega just basically said, no, that just looks ridiculous. We're giving you a authorization to make a new spin on Sonic, but we didn't say basically you can do this amount of changing.
It's one of those things I was going to say we'll never know, but it's the Sonic fan base, so we will find out about it.
And then we can turn back and say
whether or not Sega will want us to find out about it is another matter. But it is one of those things that we'll find out the ins and outs in the end. I mean, to be honest, there's some very good investigative journalism done by all of the main fan sites for Sega and Sonic, so things will be found out in the end via some interview somewhere or some blog, or he made a comment on Reddit, or he's posted all of his work that he did for the project that was supposed to be under NDA online. One of those.
He posted it on DeviantArt.
One of those. It'll be.
Then we find out that there's been a whole conspiracy, like the whole alien colonial marines, where Sega gave this to Big Red Button. Then we find out Big Red Button kind of gave it to someone else at the last minute.
Oh, that's allegedly.
Anyway, have we just gone on the biggest tangent ever from the TV series? Is this even still the same video?
No, this is like extra.
This is the DLC.
This is your bonus video. Although you made a good point actually when talking about.
We've never actually signed off on the other video, did we?
Oh, we can just add. That's the good thing. We can just add something in, and then Jamie can cut it in.
It's the internet. They'll never know.
They'll never know.
Dun, dun, dun.
Unless Jamie's been lazy and not actually put it in.
Everyone's going to think, wait, each commentary episode's only been 10 minutes long. This is 45 minutes. Yeah. Is this an extra long episode that we miss? It's a mini-movie.
I've seen other commentaries, which are the two episodes together, which go to about 50 minutes, so I think we're fine. I think we're fine. But we were talking about the design just then, and you mentioned Aliens Colonial Marines, which actually made me think of Jim Sterling. And he made a fantastic point the other day in that, which I hadn't noticed or realised on the design. The whole point of the sports tape thing, yeah, it's for the idea of parkour, and it helps with that. Why is Amy's just round her waist?
That's actually a really interesting question.
Yeah, I hadn't realised. I just thought it was some belt, and it's no, that's where her sports tape is. It's round her dress, around her waist.
Maybe they're trying to say she needs to be slim, or maybe that's because she's very acrobatic.
Or maybe there just isn't a very good,
They didn't want to put it in a sexualised place, so they was where do we put tape on a girl?
Yeah, there wasn't a Claire's nearby.
I just heard that as eclairs for some reason. It's there was no eclairs around.
There's no eclairs around. Oh well, anyway. So there's a question for you. What's the point of the sports tape if it's just around somebody's clothing? Answers on the postcard to Jim Sterling, not us. But we'd love to know as well. Anyway. That's it for episode 5 and 6. Hooray!
Yay!
Yay!
Yay.
We'll be back next week, where apparently there's only one episode. Is this correct?
I'd not heard that, but
Is
it
this
could be possible.
Donnie?
The next 2 episodes, A Circus of Plunder and Double Doomsday, released original air date to be announced.
Yeah. I think Donnie was saying something about Thanksgiving and that there was only one episode. Or
Yeah, next week, from what I saw on my Verizon Fios guide, there was only one new episode listed, and that was Double Doomsday. The other one was just the Buster episode again. So,
But Double Doomsday is listed as episode 8, whereas Circus of Plunder has been listed as episode 7.
it's
Well,
almost like some terrible disorganisation of the entire thing.
they did rearrange all the episodes, so I mean...
So we're gonna have some episode. We're gonna have the episode that introduces Styx properly at the very end, from the looks of things.
Like episode 25 or something.
The season finale, introduction to Styx.
It would be terrible if my prediction that they actually did that as like the penultimate episode of series 1 would actually be the introduction to Styx came true.
It's just like, God damn it! Come on.
It's the season finale, a Sonic Boom. Hi, I'm Styx.
Yeah.
Do you remember the time when we first met you?
Actually, I rather predict that the end of series 1 will be like some sort of terrible 2-parter, so we can get like a 20-minute episode out of Sonic Boom, and it will have an introduction to Shadow, or we'll have an introduction to Metal Sonic, and there'll be something along those lines to have some other character come in and do things. Hey,
Or
Blaze
it
the Cat
it might
joins
even
the
introduce the next, or the supposed next video game that was meant to be made, but it's probably not going to be now.
yeah.
Well, you never know. Sonic gets games released of him, good and bad, throughout. Well, quite regularly, if I'm honest. I mean, it's only more of recently that Sonic games in general have taken a real slowdown, since we pretty much from the GameCube era, I believe it was like 2002, there was a Sonic game released every single year.
I should note too, there's 52. There's supposed to be 52 11-minute episodes, and we've seen now so far, 6. So this is only the beginning.
So basically, we're going to get a
beginning.
Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog length season, because Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog have about 64 episodes in the entire running of it.
I forget the total.
I've just been
Sonic
looking at
X. Sonic X was 52 episodes for series 1 and 2, and then we had the Meta X, which we pretend didn't happen.
what happened.
Which was
exactly?
another 16.
Right.
The thing is, though, is that it's more difficult to really consider if Sonic X, like if Sonic Boom is longer than the others, because Sonic Boom isn't doing the 30-minute episode format like the other Sonic TV shows did. So it makes it makes it a little bit more difficult to say, okay, the episode count. It's a little bit more finicky in that aspect, but
Also, Sonic X had a lot of its plot lines written for it, because it basically had a lot of the story arcs being the games on the modern era. So that's a slightly different thing as well, because you had Battle and you had Adventure and you did Adventure 2 and had allusions to other ones as well.
yeah, that's the thing about Sonic X, is that pretty much the majority of the series was just, hey, it's Chris helping, and if Chris was in a game, here you go. If Chris was in Sonic, yeah, he is in Adventure DX technically, but I mean, it's a little poster.
I think he
but,
appears
yeah.
in the Leapster one as well. I think.
Yeah,
think
Chris
so.
Thorndike appears in Sonic X Leap Stuff game.
There's a Let's Play in that, isn't there?
I
Let's play
want
the
to do
Leapster.
that. I want to do the Let's Play of that. I've been looking around for like an emulator that will actually do the Leapster game, because I want to do that.
You're in for a treat.
It's just me and Sonic X. I don't know, like punishment. Anyway, so tune in next week, where we will have episodes 7, 8, or 7 and 8, and Donnie will be crying over the lack of a Sonic balloon in the Macy's Day Parade.
Yeah, I'll be the only one that cares about the Macy's parade.
Oh, so they've not put the Sonic
No,
balloon
he's
back
not
in
in.
the Mason.
He's not in.
Yeah, they've replaced him with Thomas the Tank Engine.
Wow.
I mean, I'll be still watching it regardless because I mean it's the Macy's parade and it's quite a tradition over here. But
I was going to say over there maybe, but we in the UK we kind of.
It's a pity. It's a pity we're not going to have the Donnie live stream actually commentary of that, because I could just imagine you getting just. It's like Thomas the Tank Engine comes along getting really annoyed about it and snippy. It's like, oh, here comes Thomas the fucking Tank Engine. Yeah, oh, great. Oh, good, the sock monkey's back. Whoa, what a surprise.
Why do I see him? I see him all year, man. I don't want to see him no more.
The Fat Controller had news for Thomas. He was going into the Macy's Day Parade.
Thomas was very excited that he had been promoted and been told he was a very useful engine.
Sorry,
Sonic on the
interesting
other
you say that, because that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Wait, rewind what?
I've got to find it for you. I saw this thing that said that there was going to be a Thomas the Tank Engine Macy's Day balloon on it, and they set it up just like that, pretty much.
Oh boy.
Then a giant badger came along and decided that.
Grass on the line.
Picked up Thomas and decided that Thomas was going to be her pet. Oh no, said Thomas, and then proceeded to throw up everywhere.
Suddenly, disaster struck. Someone had sabotaged the balloon. Thomas was deflating fast as he came down towards the innocent bystanders that were standing underneath him.
Oh no, I was punctured by a lamppost, said Tom. I'm not going to be able to appear again for 20 years.
Now I just kind of want, as bad as it sounds, I kind of want that to happen just to wet myself laughing. It's like,
Also, this does mean that via the gift of crossovers, we now know that Sonic Boom takes place in the island on the island of Sodor. So, anyway, look forward to Sonic and the Magic Railroad coming soon to DVD. But we'll see you next week. So from me, from Donnie.
Hi, happy Thanksgiving.
From Tom.
See you later.
And Jono.
Hello, I'm hungry again now.
Oh, God damn
He's off
it.
to have more apple bloody turnovers. Blast him. Come join us again next week, where there'll be another batch of Sonic Show people. Who will it be?
Will we have Tanner appear?
Spin the roulette wheel.
Will Tanner appear? Will he look exactly like that character? We'll never know. Will Jamie make his return? Will we get somebody else entirely? Will there be a guest? Answers to these and many other questions may or may not be answered next week. See you then. Bye.
Bye.
Why? We're sorry.
Bye. Sorry.
Sorry we exist.
Sorry for the madness that just ensued.